He is arguably one of the greatest athletes of all time, and he brought the attention of millions around the world to watch him play basketball and brought popularity to the sport. And today I'll be talking about the life of Michael Jordan and what his legacy was into the world of sports. So Michael Jordan is one of the greatest athletes of all time and inspired millions of people around the world to be just like him. And then more about Michael Jordan's life. Just to start off, like in his early days, he grew up in North Carolina and spent his time playing basketball with the Chicago Bulls. And lastly, his legacy on the impact of sports in the world, which is what I'll be talking about today on my speech. So starting off with Michael Jordan's early life, he was born in 1963 in North Carolina to both his parents, James and Dolores, and he grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina, and his father, James, inspired him to play basketball. In high school, he immediately became a star and draw the attention of people around the United States, and was highly recruited by a bunch of universities across America. Eventually, Michael Jordan decided to play at basketball at University of North Carolina, which is his home state, and hoped to bring success with them. And he played at North Carolina as a freshman and a sophomore, and in those years, he was able to bring 2 titles to the North Carolina basketball teams and make them back-to-back championships. And then during his college career, he was highly recruited by NBA teams that were interested in him. And he was one of the most anticipated college athletes of all time. And people were interested in him because of his abilities and the other things that brought the attention to people. In 1984, Michael Jordan was drafted by the Chicago Bulls with the 3rd overall pick, and he eventually moved to Chicago with his family to start his new life of being an NBA player to earn millions. And then with the second part of the speech, we'll be looking into Michael Jordan's NBA career. Michael Jordan was drafted by the Bulls in 1984, and then he became an instant star by notice and gathered the attention of people because of his success. Jordan brought winning to Chicago immediately and brought many fans supporting him from his North Carolina days, and brought even more from his success as he became a top player in the NBA. And then later into the 90s, as the Bulls weren't winning much, he wanted like more players around him to start winning, and that's when he recruited Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and others to join him to form a new super team and start the dynasty that we all know today. And in the 90s, the Bulls dominated as they won 6 championships, with Jordan playing 8 of those years after he spent 2 of those years playing baseball for the Chicago White Sox. And then Jordan's greatness during the dynasty days left an everlasting impact on basketball forever. As millions of kids around the world inspired to be like him and were buying his merch, and he just became an icon around the world. And even with like somebody like Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, both Michaels, they're like the 2 most popular people in the world at the time. And then from Michael Jordan's legacy and his impact on the world, he was able to partner with Nike and help develop clothes, shoes, etc. And then with Nike, he was able to start like his own clothing brand, and then was able to help people around the world, giving his clothes away to the poor, and also like putting in stores for people to buy it. And then Jordan was able to help it grow because of his basketball success, and his brand became a success, as it's still like one of the top selling products in the world today with his iconic Jordan shoes. And he became one of the greatest athletes of all time, and became one of the most influential people in the world still today. And then today I discussed the life of Michael Jordan, what his legacy was in basketball outside of sports and in his brand. According to articles such as the Revalidating Michael Jordan's Legacy, Debunking the Hype, they talk about how his legacy was able to impact millions of people based off his success and what he did with Nike to become very influential. And also in other articles such as the Smithsonian, which covered The Last Dance, this infamous documentary that came out in 2020. They talk about how his impact during the 1990s Bulls dynasty was able to bring the attention of millions of people around the world. And they showed what he truly was and what he was as an athlete. And also, lastly, another article from his biography that talked about his life and also how he came up. He wasn't very, I'd say he was poor living up in North Carolina. He was able to overcome coming out of North Carolina, eventually going to college, going into the NBA, and becoming an infamous entrepreneur. And that's all. Thank you.